apart in a truly spectacular way. The story made the headlines last month because the husband, Leon Walker, was charged with criminal hacking for snooping in his wife's email and could go to prison if convicted. But that episode turns out to be only one twist in what both sides now describe as an elaborate downward spiral. Here's my co-anchor Bill Weir with a he said, she said for the modern age.
Like most bitter divorce cases, this is a he said, she said tale with two versions of a crumbling marriage. In fact, they don't even agree on whether they were ever truly in love.
It was okay at first, we had our independency.
There was not a really good relationship there. Early on, I classified it as a fraud, and I pretty much stayed that way.
But unlike any breakup story before, this one could end up with a man in jail and new legal boundaries on husbands, wives, and privacy. This was the first marriage for Leon, the third for Clara. She'd had a son with her first husband, left her second after he allegedly slapped her in a fit of jealous rage, and then she met a handsome IT specialist at her job with the county. Clara got pregnant, and with a beautiful new daughter, the two decided to give it a go as a family. But a family, she says, with boundaries.
It was kind of a clear line of independence, and we expected each other's privacy throughout everything. Shortly after we were married, he insisted that we, have any conversations through emails.
Any conversations?
Yes, all conversations went through emails.
Well, she didn't like to talk, and I didn't like to confront, so I don't know.
Emails provided by Clara show a couple struggling to connect, but filled with acid accusations. Here he wrote, "I can see you've gone through experiences that have made you what you are. You were raised in a house where one parent is from the backwoods and the other from a third world country." Leon apologized for this in a later email, but for Clara, those words marked a point of no return.
That was it, because I couldn't see myself married to somebody who felt that way towards me. So, and there was no way that I could look past that. That was the end.
While technically still married, both say they were little more than roommates for months, and Clara soon sought comfort with her second husband. This police report describes how she accused him of hitting her in front of her son, but the two remained close nevertheless.
We're friends. We've remained friends after the divorce. He maintained a close friendship with my son, and we're good friends. We see each other. We have the same friends, mutual friends.
I knew she was having a relationship. I didn't know with who at first. Then I looked at the phone records and saw she was, deep in a long-term communication relationship with her second husband, at least.
Did you have an affair with your second husband while you were still married to Leon?
The way that he portrayed it made it sound like I did this when we had a great marriage. Our marriage fell apart fast. He did tell me about 5 months before I actually had that encounter with my second husband, that I had every right to move on. He said that in an email.
A reasonable person wouldn't assume that a woman would go back to a guy who beat her. I knew she was involving her son in a relationship with him, and I was very concerned that she was also doing the same thing with our daughter.
In search of proof, he says he sat down at a laptop computer in their home and began reading Clara's emails to her best friend.
How'd you know her password?
Well, she told me her password before. Her password was her son's name. She also kept a copy of her passwords and her address book that was typically left next to the computer that she used.
That's very false. It's never happened. There was not a notebook. I don't keep passwords next to my computer, as he, told the media and the public.
She denies that. She denies she ever wrote it down.
Well, she did, and she said that on the stand, too, in the preliminary examination. But I have her own handwriting. I have her own copies of her address book. When she saw the evidence, she agreed that it was hers.
How did he get in?
From what I've heard, he guessed at it. He guessed at my password.
Was it easy to guess? Was it a child's name or something?
I had about 2 different passwords that I had used during the time that we were married, and honestly, I don't use that account anymore, and I couldn't even tell you which one it was that he actually used.
However he got in, Leon then printed those emails and sent them to Clara's first husband as a warning that she was bringing their son back into a relationship with husband number 2. This touched off a custody battle over the boy and led an angry Clara to go to the police. Months later, the Oakland County Sheriff's Cyber Unit arrived at Leon's office.
2 officers are there, and they asked me to come out with them to the car. And they put me in the back seat and handcuffed me and drive off. Being a person who's never had any issue with the police before, that was pretty interesting.
And his arrest, a pretty interesting development in the age of modern love.
Memory spy. See you hide from me now, little man.
Because movies like Knocked Up are just one place to find spousal spying these days. A recent study found that around 1/3 of men and women admit to checking their significant other's email without their knowledge. And almost half of all divorce cases include online snooping. Even so, Leon will stand trial and face up to 5 years in prison under a Michigan law historically used to go after computer hackers or credit card fraudsters. But Oakland County prosecutor Jessica Cooper insists that Leon Walker is exactly that sort of criminal.
He's hacking. We have an IT specialist who hacks. What else is he going to start hacking into, particularly when he's a government computer expert? What's the difference between hacking into the email or hacking into an account or eavesdropping on a phone? That's something that you cannot do, and you can't do it between husband and wife. You can't do it between friends, and you can't do it.
Does the prosecutor have nothing else to do? You've got a prosecutor now who is either trying to make a name for herself, for her office, or simply trying to set a precedent that says this will not be tolerated. If we say that this activity will not be tolerated and we're going to make eavesdropping, that is snooping in someone's email who's your spouse, in a shared computer, in your own home, a crime, well, God knows where we're going to put all the people in all the jails in America. You like apples, don't you?
The Walkers' divorce is now final. Clara lives with her folks, and they share custody of their little girl. But this child clinging to a picture of her dad is the focus of a whole new legal battle. Leon is seeking sole custody of his daughter and court-ordered counseling for his ex-wife, all while preparing for a criminal trial that begins on Valentine's Day.